Get started here in just a minute, and we're going to learn how to grow your profit share tree today. Powerful class, passive income. We're going to learn what it is. We're going to learn how to take advantage of it, how you can earn your fair share of this as well. So thank you guys for joining us today. I know we're up to 15. I know people will be jumping on as we go forward. So as we are following along, if you guys go get the download from my website, JayCermak.com, jaycermak.com. You will now see a downloads button up at the top of the screen, and that's where you'll find all of our downloads. So for today's Grow Your Profit Share Tree class, there are 2 downloads. One will be the full training. The second will be a handout version that I give in the classes that I teach. That way you guys can follow along as you want. The goal is there's a couple exercises we're going to do together today. And you're going to walk out of here, or I guess zoom out of here today with an actual plan to start thinking about the people that you know and how to grow your profit share tree, which is really exciting. It's one of the greatest values I think we have at Keller Williams. And surprisingly, it's not the reason people join. So if you think people join because of profit share, they don't. They join because of the value. However, the profit share as we go forward is what's really going to be something that we can call a legacy worth leaving. So you guys will be able to actually leave it and will it to your family members, which we'll talk about more as we go forward. So I'm going to go ahead and get started here. Thank you guys for being here. And today we're teaching the Keller Williams University course, Grow Your Profit Share Tree. So you're going to learn about what is profit share and everything like that. So I will start with a simple intro of who am I. So my name is Jay Cermak. I am trainer extraordinaire, self-proclaimed. I am also a director of tech innovation for 3 market centers, a labs advisor. I run the J Team Global here in South Florida, as well as other locations. You will see in these photos here, I have spoken on stage at Mega Camp around designs and command. I've been in many breakout panels with Keller Williams. Obviously, there with Gary Keller. To the right, you see a picture of my labs advisor friends, my fellow group of people that are big into the technology. You see there in the center, my family. I am a funkle, the fun uncle to 8 nieces and nephews. And I've got my dogs there, Lucky and Lady, over on the left as well. So that's just a little bit about me. My passion is around teaching others. And really it's about profit share mainly because of the passive income. And you're going to learn today that one of our values of Keller Williams is our mission statement, right? To build careers worth having, businesses worth owning, to be able to have a life worth living, experiences worth giving, and then a legacy worth leaving. And I believe profit share really fills that legacy worth leaving part. And you're going to see why I'm passionate about profit share and how I'm leaving a legacy for these 8 nieces and nephews that will live on beyond me. So let's go ahead and get started here. Today, I am also asking if you leave early, that's okay. But before you leave for the class, if you could do me a favor, I am in the process of finishing my application to be a KWU approved trainer. So there are only 140 trainers in the whole world that do this. So my passion is to help. I'm already teaching these classes and I'm almost done. Just need a couple more surveys and we'll be finished. So at the end of class, I will give this to you again on how to do it. It is going to be a market center training, but if you could take a moment at some point today and give me a review, that would greatly help me on my journey. So let's talk about what we're going to be covering today. So we're going to be covering specifically on what we're going to learn about profit share. We're going to have a plan around profit share because passive income in general, you need a plan to make passive income. We're going to help you with why profit share, how does it work? Then we're going to teach you how to build your tree, build your plan, and then we'll go through some ahas at the end here. So if you're following along on the handout, for those who just joined, if you go to jaycermak.com, that's JayCermak.com. You can click downloads and download this actual interactive guide with it. And I have a handout there as well. And if you are watching this later in the recording, that handout will still be available for you as well. So that's a lot what we're going to talk about. And what's exciting is this course could change your life. So ultimately, the things that I know people have told me in the past that they want to get out of this course is I find people don't understand profit share, so they don't get it. And as I was taught by one of my leaders, Nikki Ubaldini, is that you don't get it until you get it, meaning you start receiving money and then you go, oh my gosh, this is amazing. So we're going to talk about that. I hear a lot of people always tell me, Jay, I don't know what to say. What do I say to that other agent to get him in that doesn't sound too salesy? Or I'm guilty of this. I kind of vomit Keller Williams on people, meaning I'm so passionate and excited about KW that I'll talk about all the amazing things we have, and that will make people get scared. That's why they use the term like it's like a cult, right? However, I know you can't spell the word culture without the word cult. And I define cult as just being like-minded people who have similar beliefs. So we'll talk about that later. And these are the things we're really going to cover today as we go forward. So that's a lot of things that we're going to talk about. And at the end of the day, to fortify your business and your life with passive income opportunities of profit share. So Linda McKissick, who is the best-selling author of the book Hold, she's a 7th level agent and really the Keller Williams queen of passive income, has earned more than probably by now almost $11 million in passive income with her husband, Jim. And Linda explains that the day you pick up your last sign will be the day you make your last dollar in real estate, unless you do something to create passive income. Profit share is a solution, and you'll need a plan to take advantage of it. If you have a plan, you'll take the first steps. So we're going to talk about that, right? That's the real estate dilemma. The day you stop selling real estate and you're not selling a home anymore is the last day you get paid in real estate. And especially today, while we're facing the challenges with COVID and different things, it's more important than ever to have more than one stream of income. And we're going to talk a lot about that today. So by the end of this course, you're going to be empowered with your passive income plan. You'll have the knowledge and the skills to achieve the following things with the big goals. You're going to, number one, know how to build your passive income. And number two, you're going to have a plan in place to activate your passive income potential. So profit share was intended to be a revolutionary idea in the real estate industry. And honestly, it still is. We literally share almost half of the Market Center's owner's profit with the agents who help grow the company. And that's what profit sharing is. So why do we do that? We do that because we don't just say that together everyone achieves more. We actually mean it. And we're willing to put systems and models into place to support it. So that's really where it's going to get to be a win-win. Now, I don't know if any of you have had the opportunity yet to listen to Gary Keller's Think Like a CEO podcast. I have really, truly treasured listening to these. We're now 3 seasons. They're not very long. Every season's maybe 4 or 5 podcasts. They're about 15 minutes to 20 minutes at max. And in season 1, episode 2, Gary shared more of profit share. And if you don't know the history of Keller Williams, it kind of makes sense. Gary Keller himself got into real estate in a shifting market. And he shares that story with Think Like a CEO podcast. And you'll hear his story, how he actually wanted to be like a rocker and realized he didn't have the passion to truly be dedicated to what they had to do. So his parents enrolled him in school and he was able to go and he got a degree in real estate and insurance. And the insurance companies actually told him he's not a good salesperson and that he wouldn't do well. So out of spite, he went into real estate and clearly the rest is history. Now, the part that pertains to us today is about profit share. So when Gary Keller formed Keller Williams back in the mid 80s, about 86, 87, there was another shift. Kind of what we're feeling like now. The market was changing, interest rates were high, and he had a competitor came into place, one of these 100% companies with a giant balloon. I'm not going to use their name. And they came in across the street from Gary and took like 10 of his top agents and actually took his entire staff. So Gary was left with just a few agents that he had built on his empire, and his entire company was just crumbling in front of him. And he sat down with those agents. Now, later, we're going to call that the Agent Leadership Council, the ALC. But at that time, it was literally just Gary, the CEO of a company, sitting with the people in a room. And he said, hey, what do we need to be to actually have you access these things? Like, what do we need to do to keep you? And what came out of that were 2 big things. One was profit share, and the other was capping, right? The agent said, Gary, we want to make more money. That's where capping came from, which is the ability for an agent in a calendar year to earn 100% of their commission once they've given X amount of dollars to the Market Center. The other part is they said, Gary, we want to share in the profits. Now, what's interesting about the lesson, if you listen to this episode, I didn't realize this. So Gary Keller, at one point in his company, gave away the rights to make decisions. Meaning, he said, okay, if we're going to do this and build a company that puts agents first, I want to have an agent leadership council and let you guys make the decision making. And they actually started with something called revenue share. You might have heard of that. There's a cloud-based company right now that's using the term revenue share because they share the revenue, meaning not paying our bills, not making sure we have any money yet. They just pay right off the top cash based on the revenue they make. Now, the challenge with that, Gary found, was it started making the culture of our company funky. Can you imagine if we didn't have culture right now in Keller Williams, what that would look like? So he said it started being funky, and actually somebody called him out and said, Gary Keller, what's the purpose of business? And Gary's like, it's to make profit. And he goes, you're rewarding the wrong thing. This guy looking at Keller Williams said, you're rewarding the wrong thing. You're rewarding revenue, yet you're expecting profits. And Gary went, oh my gosh, should have had a V8 moment, right? He's actually going, oh my gosh, you're right. I'm not living what I said. And he had to go back to the agents. Now, by this point, when he figured this out, he already gave away the decision-making, and every agent already agreed to do revenue share, which is instant money today. So imagine being Gary Keller, sitting in a room with people, having to tell them, I made a mistake. I know I told you I can give you revenue share today. However, I don't think that's the right thing. And if you agree with me, I need 100% participation. We're going to go into something I call profit share, which means we make sure we're profitable. We're going to pay our bills. We're going to make sure our expenses are paid. And whatever money is left, the money that I as a CEO would keep in my pocket or my investors, we're actually going to share back almost half of it with the agents. And I can't promise the money today when he did this in the 80s, yet he can promise the money in the future. Well, good news is Gary doesn't have to think about what would happen if they didn't say yes. They all agreed. They gave up instant revenue share and decided to go on the journey of profit share. So fast forward to today, why that matters is because profit share means we're a profitable company first. You'll learn 99% of our market centers are profitable all across America. This works in US and Canada. And then you hear something else about international, but it's a powerful lesson. And I've been with Keller Williams going on 7 years, and I didn't know this story. So I love it. If you haven't listened to Think Like a CEO podcast, I would definitely spend time on that. So that won't be in your handout. That's kind of bonus material. But that episode, season 1, episode 2, really gave me clarity around how powerful profit share is. So we're going to talk about that. And at the end of the day, going back to this why profit share, and Gary says, because we truly believe that together, everyone achieves more. And we're willing to put that belief into action. So at Keller Williams, any associate who helps to grow a profitable market center can be rewarded with passive, potentially long-term income without any risks or investing any capital. So who here wouldn't like to get money for not having to give any money? I love that one. And profit share is exactly what it sounds like. We're basically giving almost 50% of all the money we make from our market centers back to our agents. And the owners have all agreed to do this, by the way, in the franchise agreement. And we do it because that's a win-win, and that's who we are. Now, I explained from the Think Like a CEO paragraph, but if you're following along in the PDF under page 13, so if you haven't gotten the download yet, JAYCERMAK, jaycermak.com/downloads, the link's in the chat. This is what we're seeing on page 13. When Gary Keller and the first ALC created the profit share system, they were purposely making a bold statement. Gary explains, we created a program that would treat our real estate sales associates like legitimate partners in the business. We created a program that allows associates to build a business inside a real estate company that is as powerful as if they owned the company themselves. Think about that. We just heard in the news lately how I would say a majority of those companies that are in the stock market that have real estate agents have let go of their staff. They've had to do stuff because they report to a actual stockholder. Keller Williams is owned and operated and ran by agents and stakeholders. Totally different culture. So I love that he shares that. And, as we go forward, you might be asking yourself, what the heck is even passive income? it's just money you receive without doing anything to actively earn it, which is great, right? It's completely, entirely, and wholly, absolutely passive income, meaning no financial risk, no legal risk, no down payment. And it says no recruiting phone calls, but I'll change that because it's not recruiting. You're just going to have relationship building. But I love that they share that, right? That's what this passive income is. And what I like to think about is how much would you have to invest in the bank if you got 5% interest if you were to make $75,000 a year? So to keep it simple, if you wanted to make $75,000 and you had a bank that would give you 5% interest, which by the way doesn't exist today, typically banks don't give you that much back, it would take you almost $1.5 million in the bank to get back a return. That's a lot of money. So we're going to keep thinking about this and we're going to go forward with that. So ultimately, what is passive income? So passive income at the end of the day is something that you do to get money without earning it, right? We talked about that. So how does profit share compare? If you think about that, there's not many companies that do that. Now, here in South Florida, we have a couple companies that do, like Publix, the grocery store. And you might notice something different about Publix, the grocery store, if they're sharing back owner profits with the people that work there. What I find when I go to a Publix grocery store in Fort Lauderdale and South Florida is the fact that they're friendly, they have a pride, they walk a little differently than if I went to another store that didn't have that. Right? It doesn't compare. There's nothing out there like it, especially not in real estate. Now, there are people who have versions of this who will call it profit share. I know there's a couple companies that have an exit in their name. There's a couple others that will use this term, but I promise you it doesn't work this way. And I know we've given back over $1.4 billion. Yes, billion with a B to our agents, and no one's ever come close. Not even Publix has done that. So we'll talk more about the numbers, but it really doesn't compare. That's what's interesting. There isn't a comparison for this, and you all have the equal opportunity to receive it. So one of the goals in business is what we call the four conversation, meaning when we help you with your real estate business, we're going to talk about and start with the end in mind, meaning what's your goals? How much profit do you want to make at the end of the year? And you might have heard that term before, because if you are in productivity coaching, MAPS coaching, if you talk to your team leader, we typically ask you, how much do you want to make this year? Now, I've worked for many companies with outside of Keller Williams, like other real estate companies. And honestly, they just told me to go sell a house. And not one of them ever asked me, Jay, what do you want to make this year? The power of this is we usually ask you how much profit do you want to make? And we'll take that number. So let's say I want to make $100,000 this year. Okay, great. Well, you want to make $100,000. Well, your cap and your royalty fees is $23,000. So now you need to make at least $123,000. Plus you have taxes, plus you have their board dues, plus you have other expenses. So let's just say for me to keep $100,000 of profit, I might need to make $175,000. Great. So if you need to make $175,000 to net you $100,000 profit, how many closings do we need based on the average commission price? Then how many listings you need to take to have those closings? And then how many appointments do you need to go on to get the listing, to get the closings, to end up with the profit, right? That's what we always talk about. Now, the purpose of what we call, this is the Career Growth Initiative. That's what CGI stands for. The purpose of the Career Growth Initiative is to fund your life, meaning profit share gives you power to exceed your gross commission income profit goals, and engage in the activities to grow your profit share tree doesn't take away from the time you spend achieving your goals. So you can look for opportunities to connect with other agents while you're achieving your goals. Meaning, if I want to be in what they call 100% club, I would need to earn more money in profit share than the commission split I pay. So if we're talking cap, some market centers have caps anywhere from $18,000 to, I know Manhattan has one at like $50,000 a year. Yet, let's just say 20 to be on the average side. Let's say your average cap in a market center is $20,000. And then we all have a franchise fee up to $3,000 a year. So $23,000 total, meaning if I made $25,000 in profit share a year, I earn more money than my commission split, meaning it's like I get paid to work at Keller Williams. Now, I know in my office, I have Chris Toomey, Dory Santiago, John O'Flaherty are three agents in my market center now who have all now earned more in profit share than they pay the company. That's powerful. If I were you, That would be one goal I would set. What can I do to at least get 23 or 20,000 or 40, whatever the number is, in profit share? And if you got that every year, you basically aren't paying Keller Williams anything to be here because you're getting your money back. That's a powerful model. I don't know any company who wants me to earn more money than I pay them back. None of them, right? So it's something interesting to think about on as we go through this at page 17. So let's talk about how this works. And if we think about it, this is going to be kind of the big picture of profit share. Now, the first step is an associate joins a market center and names you as their sponsor. It's how this is going to work. And don't worry, I've got the math and the breakdown of all that stuff, but that's what it starts with. So the good news is you all already did this. When you joined, you named somebody for being here. So for me, it was Chris Toomey. I'm here because of Chris Toomey. And I named him as my sponsor when I joined because he was the agent who introduced me to Keller Williams and kept in touch with me and built a relationship with me. And I'm so grateful for him for the life that I have now that would have never happened had I not come to Keller Williams. This company is transformational. You'll hear many stories of transformation around the way if you plug in and give into it. So first, how profit share works is you have to name somebody as a sponsor. Next, then in a particular month, as part of their split, they have to pay company dollar to the market center, meaning I had to do a sale and not be capped yet. And if there was money left over, then the market centers could share that money back with Chris in this case, since he was my sponsor. Next, during the month of that month, the market center has to be profitable. Good news, 99% of all market centers of Keller Williams in the US and Canada are profitable, which also means, by the way, number one, an associate joins a market center. They don't have to join your office. They can join a market center anywhere. I have agents who've joined the market centers all over, and I'll share my numbers in a bit. And I got them from my own market center, and I have a couple agents now that are in Tampa. I know people in other areas. This is your ability to really maximize this opportunity because it doesn't matter where they are. I bet you if you look at your family, there's somebody thinking about getting real estate or somebody who is a realtor that you can get to join Keller Williams at some point because we are just about everywhere. So number 3 is the market center is profitable. Number 4, then on the 21st of the following month, some of the market center's profit is automatically deposited into your account. This happens automatically. You'll see people with their mailbox money, we call it, and we're hitting our refresh on our checking account on the 21st every month to see, did I get profit share yet? Now, today's the 10th of April. So on the 21st of April, I will get whatever came from March's profit share. So it comes in the next month, you guys, and it's automatically deposited into any account you want, which is really cool. Now, this was old, so I will correct it. If you are with us today before April 1st, if you joined, everyone else will have the 3 years and a day you're vested, meaning if you leave Keller Williams after 3 years and 1 day and you're receiving profit share, you'll still receive it. I've been here 6 years now. I will receive profit share forever, no matter what I do. And I'll come back to the new change in a second. But that's how it currently was, I should say. There's a new policy in effect as of April 1st. But if you've already been with the company before April 1st, this is your rule. We all are on this 3 years and a day and you're vested. Anybody new will have a different rule. And then you can actually will profit share to your beneficiary. See how this becomes legacy worth leaving? I can will it to my nieces and nephews and family members, which is really powerful. Now, this is what changed as of April 1st. So anybody new who joined, basically as of today, will change number 5 to 7 years in a day and they're vested. I mean, they can still be vested, but they have to be with the company 7 years and 1 day first. Mainly because we looked at all the people who joined us and left and what they did, and they did a study on this, and Gary Keller didn't decide this, by the way. It was the agents and the Agent Leadership Council, we have an international one, that voted and decided to make this change as a family reunion, and it took effect April 1st this year. So they have to wait 7 years and a day. If you joined before April 1st, you only have to wait 3 years and a day and you're vested. Now, here's the other thing that changed. If you go to a competitor now, if you join from now on, there's no profit share that you could forgo it. Meaning, if I'm with the company 7 years and a day, I get profit share, but let's say on the 8th year, I decide to join XYZ Realty. I don't know what the name of it is. I'm just giving a name. Doesn't matter what company. If I go there and I'm still selling real estate, I no longer receive profit share. Now, you're probably wondering, why the heck would we do this? Part of the reason this happened is there's a couple of cloud-based companies that were formed based on the $1 million they got from profit share, and they used that money to build a competitive real estate company. Now, if you retire, if you get out of the industry altogether, you will still be vested and receive profit share forever. This is mainly meant to reward the agents who stay, and it's kind of more a reward for loyalty. So if you joined us before, none of that applies you. You got the 3 years in a day. It doesn't matter if you go to another company or not. But anybody from now on who joins us can't go to another company and still receive profit share. So I just want to set that rule is now changed. But if you're already with us and you joined in March, or I joined back in December of 2013, I'm applied on the 3 years in 1 day rule. This doesn't affect us. This is only for anybody new from now on. Exactly, Grace. Loyalty does matter. And I think it does because it rewards it. And it feels icky when I see other people who take that profit share money and then are using it to compete against us and steal agents and do unethical things, because profit share was made more around an ethical company. All right. So that's a little bit of how it works. So let's talk about the math. Now, the math is not in your guide. I added this because I know you might just want to ballpark with how this works. However, you never explain this, by the way, to an outside person, and you're never going to figure out the math perfectly. The computer does it automatically. But here's how it works. So profit share goes back 7 levels. So level 1 is going to get 50%, meaning when I joined, Chris was my sponsor. I was in his level 1 downline, and he got 50% of whatever profit share was generated by my sales. Now, remember, this doesn't come from the agent's money at all. It only comes from the owner's profit that they would be keeping in their pockets. Then level 2 goes 10%. Level 3 would go 5%. 4 goes 5%. Notice in level 5, it goes back up again to 7.5%. Level 6 goes to 10%. And level 7 goes to 12.5%. Now, this is actually from our policies and guideline manual that Keller Williams has. It's a document that if you've never read it, it's worth the read. It actually lays out everything about Keller Williams and the franchise, and this is how profit share works. So it's saying, let's just say $900 was contributed to the market center based on all the money I made, and they shared back a portion of that. And $216 was the portion that my market center shared back with the agents. This gets distributed by 50% of that money. So $108 would go to my sponsor, Chris Toomey. And then his sponsor would get $21 of that. And then the sponsor above him or the next person in the level would get $10. The next person would get 10, then 16, 21, and 27. So all $216 has to be divided by 7 levels. Now, you're probably thinking all the money is going to come from the first level. And when I share Linda's story, you'll be surprised. Money doesn't come from level 1. The profit and the millionaires make their money from level 5, 6, and 7. And that takes time. So we'll talk about that. But I just wanted you to see what the policies and guidelines says around this. And if you want to get the policy and guideline manual for Keller Williams, you can go to kwconnect.com. Just type in policies and guidelines. It's under one of the resources there. And you can actually get this and look at it. And this was on, I think, section 4, talks about profit share and how it works. So that's where this math came from. And that's what they currently have in the policies and guideline. So one thing I like to add about this is how much did Keller Williams give back in 2019? So this is actually a history as of 1997 until 2019. Now, I know we've given money this year, but this was for last year, and we gave back $167 million. But notice when it started back in 1997, this company was only giving back about $1 million a year. And then over the years, you see that number go up and down, up and down, up and down. Then there was a major shift from 2010. We were giving away $38,000. And then just about 10 years later, we're now giving over $130 million more than we did even that many years ago. This is huge. Yep. So the guide you're referencing, the policies and guideline, Yvonne, will be in kwconnect.com. Just look for the policies and guideline manual. It's a manual that lays out everything about the policies and guidelines of Keller Williams. It's an interesting read. It's basically just everything how it's supposed to work. Now, if you notice, our lifetime is now 1.37 billion. Yes, billion with a B. This is money the owners did not keep in their pocket. They gave it back and shared it with agents all across the world. So $167 million given back last year total, and $1.37 billion shared in the lifetime of profit share. That's huge. That's huge. That's a lot of money that owners could have kept in their pocket. So we also have a section in the reporting that will give you the lifetime profit share. So you'll see here, if you look at all these numbers, we have generated over 84 millionaires, meaning since they've received profit share, whether it's a year, 5 years, 10 years, 20, doesn't matter, they've earned more than $1 million. That's 84 of them. By the way, some of those people in that 84 are what formed a cloud-based company. I won't give their name, but that they started that company based on getting their $1 million from profit share, and that's what they used to buy and build a new company. Just throw that out there. Now, this is where our lifetime, but 84 millionaires from profit share, when Gary said, if you come with us in this journey, I promise it'll make you money, is just huge. Thank you, Grace. She posted the link for the policies and guidelines in the chat. Now, here's where I am. Actually, this number has gone up. I'm now at probably about $9,000. So I'm just shy of the $10,000 lifetime profit share mark. Where are you, right? Or you're not receiving this yet? Then where's your target? So if I'm getting to 10,000, my next goal is to get to $50,000 a year passive income. So here's how much I have earned. I just updated this today. This is from February's report, and I'll teach you how to get these in a second. So this is mine. You can see on the left, number of associates in each level. I have 5 in my first level and 2 in my second. Yet if you look at 12 months ago, I used to have 7 in my first level, 2 in my second, and 1 in my third level. Now, people left, and it bumped them up. That's why I'm down to 5 and 2, and this is going to go down farther because 1 of my 5 left. So I know this will change as well. You're seeing this here in February. I got $221 of profit share based on having 5 people in my tree. Here are my lifetimes over to the right. So in 2017, I got $2,100. Remember I said I joined at the end of 2013? Meaning for 2014, 2015, 2016, I got 0. I didn't get it yet. I didn't receive profit share for the first 3 years I was here. Now, in 2017, I started getting profit share, and I earned $2,100. Then the next year in 2018, I got $2,600. And this last year, I earned $4,000 in profit share. So my lifetime profit share, in this case now, I guess it's been updated to be, it doesn't show me my lifetime, but I guess if I add this all up, 422, that's 8. Yeah, we're looking at about $9, maybe $9,100 that I've earned in my lifetime. So where do you get your report? It's actually still in the My KW system. So under My KW, under reports, you have the option to look at your profit share report, and you can pull up the same report I looked at. It actually will show you Keller Williams' lifetime profit share and the cumulative profit share. So you can get those reports that I'm showing you. Because we're an open book company, this is all available for you to look at if you want to study it. And I will share, there's a group out there called the Profit Share Mastermind Group. That's one that you want to join. All right, so we got all this stuff here. It's really good stuff. So let's talk about then, how the heck does this work? Oh, by the way, we also have something called growth share. So growth share is your ability to actually receive franchise fees internationally. So profit share works in US and Canada, right? And then growth share actually works internationally. So what's neat about that is if you know somebody in South Africa, Italy, China, Japan, these are all places, by the way, Keller Williams has expanded to recently. You may be the person to introduce Keller Williams to that country. And you can receive something called growth share, which this one comes out quarterly, and you actually get a portion of the region's bottom line, meaning the region's franchise fees. So if the region made $50,000, they would give you a portion of it and they'd share it back with you, which is really cool. So it works internationally as well. It's just not called profit share. Profit share is for US and Canada only. So something else to think about, if you're taking traveling, well, when we get back to traveling, if you travel overseas or if you have family overseas or you know somebody, you know, a great story of this is we have Althea Osborne. So if you don't know who Althea Osborne is, she was one of Gary Keller's first agents who joined her. She went with him when he was growing Keller Williams, and she started talking to agents in an area. And she at one time was one of the top profit share earners, yet she's from South Africa. So she goes to South Africa to visit family. And one of the reasons that she was there recently, a couple of years ago, maybe a decade now, and she just happened to talk to somebody who said they want to get into real estate. So Althea connected that person to Keller Williams International. And Althea Osborne is the reason we have Keller Williams in South Africa. She's the person that brought those people in. And everyone who joins that company in South Africa now, who joins Keller Williams, she gets a portion of that. How powerful is that? Think big. Where are you going in the world? Where do you want to go on vacation, right? Maybe you can talk to somebody while you're there and connect with other realtors to see if they would ever be interested in Keller Williams. So just another way to think about this is not just profit share, growth share. So if you're following along on our handout, it's on page 21. We're going to talk about how the tree grows. So if you don't have the download yet, it's on jaycermak.com/downloads. You can get the download for this, and I have that for you. So when you joined Keller Williams, you thought of one person who was primarily responsible for bringing you to the company. It may not be the first person or the last person you talked to. It was the person who was most impactful on your decision-making. So that person would be your sponsor. So for me, that's Chris Toomey. Me, and then Chris Toomey is my sponsor. Then your sponsor was asked to name somebody. So in my world, I can trace that back that Chris Toomey was brought in by Alan Waxman, who is now the owner of our office. And at that time, he was the team leader. So our team leader attracted him to the company. And then Chris attracted me to the company. And that's how the tree started growing for Chris. So with the family tree, you can trace back sponsors in the profit share tree back many levels. Currently, the system goes back 7 levels. And if you listen to Think Like a CEO podcast, Gary shares with you that they toyed around with trying different numbers. So if the math looks weird and the number 7 seems odd to you, they tried a bunch of options. He'll explain that more in Think Like a CEO podcast. So at the end of the day, how many people do you think you can fill in? How far back could you trace your tree? I can be honest, I can trace it back to my sponsor, Chris Toomey, and his sponsor, Alan Waxman. I know Alan Waxman joined in Pittsburgh and Philly, where he was, or Philadelphia, sorry. And he actually has a sponsor from there. Then I believe that person was sponsored by his wife, and then that person was sponsored by somebody else, and it goes back 7 levels. Kind of like the 6 degrees of separation. So if you haven't ever done it, it might be a good exercise to go back and trace it back. And if you go into the reports, you can also see who can trace your tree back. So if you need help with that, your MCA, we can help you connect to basically who brought you in, then who brought them in, and how far back can you trace your tree. It's a fun exercise you can try to do. So we're going on now to page 25, which now becomes how you build your tree. Because remember, this screen is your sponsor, meaning my sponsor is now a stakeholder of Keller Williams and eligible to receive profit share. Until somebody names you, you're not eligible yet. Even though the opportunity is open to every single one of you yet, it takes one person to name you to be the seed to start this tree. So if we look on page 25, then how you build your tree, you're in the center, and then you need somebody to name you. So I've got an agent in, he moved to Tampa now, but Ivan was actually joined Keller Williams. He was a newer agent, didn't know anything. I got to meet him. We talked about real estate, and he joined the company and said, I'm here because of you, Jay. And he is now in my first level. And that's how it gets started. So as you can see, if this is your sponsor, the seed of your tree starts with you. And then you, these are the trees. Sorry, the tree doesn't start with you. The seed of the tree starts with them when they name you as a sponsor. So this would be my first seeds of the profit share tree. Then if we keep going with it, then those people, so in Ivan, if he had somebody join, that person would go in my second level and Ivan's first level. So as you can see, this starts looking more and more like a tree. And everything's going to come back to you. And if you really want to think about it from a genealogical standpoint, everything will eventually go back to Gary Keller because he started the company, right? So everything leads back to him, but it only goes back 7 levels at a time. But eventually, if you look at it, if we were thinking about this as a genealogy origin story, everything leads to Gary at some point. So that's just what's interesting. And what's neat here is, where do you think you have to focus? You actually want to focus on the first level. And what's interesting about that is if you focus on the first level, time is the nourishment that grows all the other levels. So to get to a 7th level, it might take time as nourishment. And we'll talk about some hints I have if you want to apply Miracle Grow to your profit share tree. I have some tips about that in a little bit. So you're going to focus on the first level, and time is how the other levels are going to grow. So people who name you as a sponsor in your first level, we already talked about that. And time is the nourishment. So as people in your first level develop relationships and grow, then you're actually going to have your tree grow. The same holds true for your 2nd level and your 3rd level and so on. So we mentioned Linda McKissick, and this in your handout is on page 27. Linda McKissick has a massive profit share tree with more than 9,000 agents in her tree. However, she only has 30 in her first level. Linda only has 30 in her first level, but her tree now has grown so large, it's over 9,000 associates. Wow, that's huge. And Mo Anderson, our vice chairman of the board and kind of the queen of our culture, advises that if you focus on building to 15 in the first level in order to grow a tree, that means 15 people name you. That's really what they want to focus on. It's actually a goal for our leadership team to help the ALC achieve. Because if our agent leadership council can get 15 in the first level, what I was taught is if you can get 15 in your first level, after about 5 years, that would be $50,000 of passive income. You guys, that would definitely get you in the 100% club and make you more money. And my goal, by the way, is I want to make $100,000 of passive income in the next 5 years. So my aha is, okay, if it takes 15 to make $50,000 in 5 years, then I need 30 to get to 30 of them there. Now you saw my tree, I'm down to 5 in my first level. I was at 6. So 5 of them means I have a gap then to hit my goal of 25 people, which translates to about 2 a month if I really get targeted on this. Now, I won't earn the $100,000 till 5 years from the date I get to 30. But what about a goal is that? That would be an exciting goal. I agree. That is exciting, right? So it's really neat that it can get there. Now, the other thing they always ask us is it too late to build a tree? No. The best opportunity is now. And you're always thinking, wow, Linda McKissick's the #1 profit share earner. No one's ever going to beat that. You guys, originally, Althea Osborne was one of the #1 profit share earners. And then Linda beat her. Somebody can beat Linda. Gary Keller teaches us that probably the top profit share earner hasn't even joined the company yet. And we're going to talk about that with all the opportunities that you guys have. This is massive. So one of the exercises I want you to do, and we can do this here for just 2 minutes, I'm going to give you to think about this. I want you to picture your tree growing. Now, here's what's neat. Who do you know that you would love to work with? Quickly jot down a few names of people you might have done a deal with. Maybe you know them from another market. Maybe you just heard of them. They don't have to be agents you have a relationship with. Maybe it's the #1 agent you keep seeing their sign everywhere. They have giant billboards. My aha, if you want to hear about Miracle Grow, why don't you go see who you know at a small independent company? Here's why. The small independent companies are really hurting right now. They don't have the money to survive being closed down or having to get their agents there. They don't have the technology that they need. We know the big companies are going to still be around because they've been around. However, that small mom and pop shop may not. So imagine if I go after, I've got an agent I'm nurturing for the small brokerage, and she and I met at an open house, honestly. So I've got her name down here, and she and I are working together because if I can get her to join and then she gets her entire office to join, let's say her broker and the owner, and then that owner gets everyone to name him, you realize that that instantly becomes like my 4th and 5th level tree, because that one person becomes the Miracle Grow to instantly get me to the 4th, 5th, and 6th level. That's another way of thinking about it, because here's what I know. As a leadership and a leader of Keller Williams, one of our goals is to start talking to these small independents, to build relationships with it. And that could be the front desk person. That could be here. Profit share works for admins, by the way. It's not just for agents. Gary Keller shares in Think Like a CEO podcast that it was his wife who called him out because he had it for agents. And she said, well, you only reward agents. Why don't you reward the staff? And pig-headedly, he argued with her for a moment and then realized she was right. So it is open to all staff of Keller Williams. Our front desk person, your admin on your team is eligible to do it. We have our Keller Williams International staff is eligible to do this. So profit share works with staff and admins too. So if you're an admin, maybe you can think about how can I help my leader grow and help grow their tree. It's just really exciting. So why don't you guys take a minute here to write down, I love it, Marley, you're an admin. Hey, we love you. We need you guys. You guys are eligible for profit share too, because you had to name somebody when you joined Keller Williams. So go ahead and take a moment and think about that name. I want you to write down 5 names. You can't think of 5, write down 1, because it will start with 1 name as a plan to get started, right? So you're going to go through this exercise. I'll give you a minute here to jot down some names. If you want to type in the chat as well, who are some names and where do you think of that? So I'll give you a minute to think about that while I get us prepared for what's next. Something else to think about while you're writing this down is maybe go through your phone book, because you'll be surprised. We're going to talk about where people come from, but I know agents who said their client got into real estate and they helped them. I've heard people say my family member thought about getting real estate. You never know who's in your phone who might be thinking about getting into real estate. And it could be a good customer service person. Here's what I know right now. People are finding unemployment and out of work and maybe wanting to get in real estate more. And we have the tools to get them ready. So think about that. Who do you know that you can add? Well, hopefully everyone wrote some names down. If you didn't, then this is something you're going to want to do later as something as your homework, because this is going to be part of our end of the class plan. That will be a 1-sheet paper of who. We're going to come up with a strategy of what to say and then how to connect with your team leader to refer these people to. And we'll talk about that here in a moment. But it isn't just picturing your tree growing. So the other part of this is, what would profit share do for you and your family? Now, we're in tough times right now. So I'm grateful that last month I ended up with $250 just coming in from profit share. What if you had $250 that just came in the mail today because of profit share? What can you do with that? Could you pay your car payment maybe? Pay for your cell phone? Could you pay, I would say for family trip, but maybe pay for Pro Zoom right now so that you could help your kids and family members connect together? I mean, what are the things you can do with this for you and your family? There's so much money that you can use to do it with, because we always say it's not about the money. It's what can you do with that money? You know, some ahas I heard from people. I told you from my story, mine is to leave it for my family. So there's a legacy worth leaving. I want to know that if anything happens to me, even today, that they're taken care of in some way. And I don't know if it's in here, but one of the stories I heard from Mo Anderson is they had 2 associates that had unfortunately passed away. And one associate was in Mo Anderson's market center, took advantage of profit share. And he had maybe $20,000, $30,000 a year coming in for profit share. The other agent was at another market center, still with Keller Williams, but never took advantage of profit share. When those agents passed away, do you think any more money was coming in from their sales? No, because when we're a real estate agent, if we stop selling, there's no more money coming in. So do you think the family who received profit share has a better view of the person who passed away and a little sense of thank you because there's still money coming in? And then if you were the other person, how do you think your family would feel if there was nothing coming in? I know that's dark and I know that feels icky, but we want to share this with you because it's your ability that this is viable. It's real. Mo Anderson says it's a cache of money, a pile of money just sitting on a table. And all you have to do to get it, we're going to teach you, is just talk to people, right? This is your ability to get it. And what I love is the fact that it's willable to the family. So if something were to happen to me, God forbid right now, I know at least right now I'm getting about $4,000 a year. There's $4,000 of money that's going to go to my family. And my goal in 5 years is to get to $100,000 because I know that would be a bigger number that I could pass on to them and then have that grow and have that grow and have that grow. And I want this to keep growing. So one of the exercises you're going to want to do for yourself is spend some time with that. Think about that. What could you do with it? I know Linda McKissick shares that she actually invests in real estate money with this money. So she uses profit share to buy more investments to make the money grow because it's just really free money that's just sitting in an account. I know that some people said they paid for a Disney Vacation Club with it, so that they got a membership of the Disney Vacation Club with their profit share money. And then that profit share and the Disney Vacation Club is willable to their family so they can give experiences. There's so many things to it. But I know most people, God forbid anything happens to us, don't want to leave their family nothing. And we may not have life insurance, we may not have anything else, or may not be enough to cover anything. So it's a powerful question, and I think it deserves more than just this webinar to think about. So I want you to think about that, and you're going to put that on your end of the class paper as well, of what is one way, like who are the people you're going to want to grow it with, and then what would this do for your family? And it's not for just your family. What can you do for someone in need right now? People are in need now more than ever, and here's what I know. I get uncomfortable myself, right? When I see homeless people looking for handouts, or that charity, or the dealers, the Girl Scouts are coming after you because they want you to buy Girl Scout cookies this year. And I've been in a moment where I didn't have enough money and I couldn't give any. Oh, and I hated it. I hated that. So what can you do with people in mind? Because this is free money that comes in. So we look at it like profit share is a gift that can make a fresh, fulfilling opportunities possible in your life and in their loved one's life. So as you consider receiving the gift of profit share, you may want to consider consider also giving a gift, an automatically monthly gift to KW Cares. So if you didn't know, KW Cares is our 501(c) or C3 public charity that provides emergency financial assistance to KW family members who experience financial hardship due to sudden emergencies. Your gift need not be great to have an impact. So there's a couple websites that you can go to. You can select it monthly. We have it where you can do it on your green sheets or the new commissions tab to give just a little bit, $5 off a transaction. But what would you do with it? When I heard this, one of the stories Mo Anderson shared with us also was there was an agent who passed away who had no family. He was an older agent. He had a profit share, and he was really kind, or his neighbors were really kind. He passed away and surprised his neighbors that he willed it to his neighbors. So now his neighbors receive profit share and their kids will receive it if anything happens to them. Talk about a gift that keeps on giving. Could you give a portion of profit share? I mean, we teach you if you run your business to give about 10% to those charities you care about. So if I made $100,000 a year in profit share and I budgeted to give away 10,000 of that, that's more than giving away nothing. And if I got to $1 million, I can easily give away money, right? What can you do for someone in need? So think about that, right? I'm sure there's somebody in your family who's struggling right now. What if you had money from profit share sitting in an account and you were able to give it to them and it didn't affect your daily budgets? That's the power of passive income. That's why you're wealthy, have passive income. So they can get away with doing things like that. So that they can keep building wealth and have money. And I think most of America, 95% of them, end up being employed or self-employed, which means you are dependent on your income. And if you aren't working anymore, you don't get a check anymore. There is no more money. That's stressful. That's what 95% of the world's population lives in, by the way. So that's just some examples there. So let's talk about how do you build your tree. We're on page 33 of the handout there. Yep, I'll get to that question later, Marley. Thank you. So building your tree. So we're on page 33. So to grow a massive profit share tree, you just build real estate, real relationships and refer. That's it. You're not a recruiter. That's the team leader's job. Your job is to look for opportunities to help someone succeed. So you're going to see these three circles: relate, refer. Notice those two have a little arrow in it, and then recruit is not your job. We're not recruiters. You have to be skilled. I've been a team leader in Fort Wayne, Indiana. I have the skills to that. I have personally recruited 140 people to this company thanks to being an agent services back when I first started in 2017. I've been a team leader, and I am skilled at recruiting. But that's my job. Your only job is to relate to people and then refer them to the leadership to do the recruiting. So what I love about that is there's never been an easier time to relate to people right now. You guys, they're scared. They are making changes. We see agents switching companies every day right now because they're scared, they're nervous. That small mom and pop shop I talked to you about, is probably nervous and not able to stay in business right now, or are closing their doors. I've seen small brokerages already close their door here. And this has only been a couple weeks. What will the next 60 days look like? 90 days? What I know is Keller Williams will still be here because we were built for this. And the neat thing is, relating right now, your best script is still simply, you could be Adele. Hi, how are you? That's it. That's still the world's best script. That's the one that works, right? How are you feeling right now? So we'll talk about the scripts, but we're going to talk about relating to people. Yeah, Yvonne, the handouts are in jaycermak.com, and you just click the downloads, and I have the download of this whole guide. So this training material is also available on KWU Connect. I just put it on my website to help you find it faster, but this is all available on KWU Connect as well, the entire guide. So let's talk about relating to people. You can relate to nearly anyone. You might have experienced this with your own office right now. What are we calling you to do? We're calling to say, hey, how are you doing, Yvonne? How's everything going? How's your family faring right now? Is everything okay with you? That's the easiest way to start relating to people right now, right? And you can relate to so many people. It could be other agents, your past clients. You never know who's ready for a change. Your purposeful comment or connection could be the catalyst for positive transformation in someone's life in terms of which company they're with or even which career they're in. Nearly anyone could be a potential member of your profit share tree, and nearly everyone would benefit from the value and opportunity Keller Williams brings. So look for other agents who have actively been selling real estate right now, people who you are not yet in real estate and might be curious about it. As we said, other clients, your past clients. Maybe now you just start asking them, hey, I know that you're thinking about me for anyone who's looking to buy or sell, but by the way, have you ever thought about getting into real estate yourself? Or do you know anyone thinking about getting into real estate? You guys, we can grow profit share by also just asking people, have they thought about getting into real estate? Linda McKissick shares all the time that she's constantly looking for people. Now, she doesn't grow her first level as much, but she helps others grow their tree right now. And she just asks them. She might say, hey, you were a really great waiter, and you know what? You'd be really good in my business. That's her script, by the way. You'd be really good in my business. You know what they always ask? Oh, what business is that? She says, real estate. Have you ever thought about getting into real estate? That's what she starts the conversation with. How easy and fun would that be? Have you ever thought about getting into real estate if you have a great experience with somebody? Something to think about, right? So earlier you thought of people that would work with, right? We did that exercise of the 5 people. So let's look at them in the second way. Where could you find additional people? Maybe that is with co-op agents, friends in the industry. I've known many realtors who went from real estate to become a mortgage person. I know mortgage people who've gone from mortgage people to be real estate. I've heard recently a lot of car salesman people have now gotten into real estate because they're already in a sales field. Pharmaceutical sales. Anybody in a sales job will probably do well in real estate if their heart's in it at our company, right? You can do open houses, friends in the industry, right? Continuing education classes when you go get your license. And then real estate certification classes are just a couple places you could be finding other people. There's no shortage right now. You could probably just put a post out there saying, have you ever thought about getting into real estate? I'd love to talk to you. Make that a post on Facebook and see what responses you get. Or better yet, tell them to private message you or DM, direct message, so that you can have an actual conversation with them. That's the way you can grow that. And we're going to share with you what to say. Right now, we're just thinking about who are the people I want, and then where else can I start building a relationship with people? So we're now on the next section of, you now know how to build a relationship with people. The reality is just be right. Be real and be yourself. Linda McKissick points out that there are 2 great ways to start a conversation. Number 1 would be to share a real compliment, and number 2 would ask them for their input. So what's interesting about that, it's remarkable simple to build a relationship by being sincere, honest, and yourself. And all you have to do is, 1, start a conversation. We already told you the best script in the world. Hi, hello, how are you? Number 2, you're going to set up a time to meet, which you can do that virtually right now through Zoom, through Facebook. You're going to look for an opportunity to help. Notice the word red, help. They need help right now. We need to help people. And then you're going to refer them to the team leader. That's your 4 steps. You're going to start a conversation, meet with them, look for ways to help them, and then refer them. The only action you're doing is 1, 2, and 3. And number 4 is just a referral, just like a real estate referral. Now, here's what's fascinating. If I told you in your real estate business that we can pay for a full-time person to do this for you at no cost, that is going to call a bunch of homes and then tell you who's a listing and list a home for you, would you do it if it was for free to you and you had a person get you a listing and all you had to do was find them a home to call and they got the listing? I know 100% of you would say yes to that. Here's the reality. That's what the team leader's job is. We hire them as the one person in the company whose job is to grow the market center and to pour into people that are our top producers. So that person works for you for free with just a name to help recruit that person to the company. We don't take advantage of that enough. That's what they're doing. It's just like if they were doing that in your real estate business. So build that referral with your team leader. It is possible to do that. Your team leader is here to help you. I've been one of those. I know how to do that. We have scripts around that. It's our job to recruit, and all you have to do is just connect us. Just connect us. Just like you referred somebody to Chicago. If I have family in Chicago, I refer it to another agent. What do I really do? I have a conversation. I connect with an agent I trust, and then I pass the information on to the agent, and I receive money. I love that, Grace. Yes, as a team leader, she appreciates that so much. It makes their job easier, guys. When I was team leader, I didn't get a lot of referrals from agents, and you know what I had to do? I went to 70 open houses in a month. I had to go to open houses to meet people because they weren't coming to me. So I took Diana Kokoska's script of, you weren't going to come to me, so I came to you, and I just went to open houses to build relationships. And it worked, but it took time to do that. You know what was the fastest way to get a referral? Was when one of my agents said, oh my gosh, you got to talk to Sally. She's a great agent. I just did a deal with her. I told her how great Keller Williams is. Would you talk to her? That made Grace's job easier. That makes my job easier. It makes your team leader's job easier. Then they can hit the goals. Then you grow the market center. And the great news is if they join and they name you as a sponsor, you just get money for giving a name. Who doesn't want to get money for giving a name? So we'll talk more about that as we go forward. So let's start with, how do you start a conversation? Well, it's easy. Share a real compliment. If you don't, we have something nice to say about everybody. Don't say there isn't anything nice to say about them, right? If you want to find a generic one, I appreciate your professionalism, but share a real compliment. It could be, I love your smile. I love your enthusiasm. I hear that one a lot from me, right? I love your passion that you share that. Share a compliment about somebody is the easiest way to start one. You know, so it might just be, hey, Yvonne, I love that you work with the AOC and you're on that growth committee. And I just love that you're passionate about helping others take advantage of profit share. Now I know she's going to feel a little bit better and she's feeling good about herself. She's a great person. And then I might even ask her for some input. And I might say, hey, you know, I'm not having that much success growing my own profit share tree. Could you help me? But you can do this in real estate. Maybe I did a deal with Yvonne and I can say, Yvonne, you handle that mold mitigation thing so well. I really appreciate you. I would love to get your input. I have a new app. Would you take a look at my app and let me know what you think? Oh, we're going to talk about the technology tips in a moment, but it's a way to ask them for input. They want to be valued. And if you value them with a compliment, they feel good. And then if you ask them for input or expertise, they feel really good. Think about it for yourself. You feel good when someone says, can you give me some opinion on this? What do you think of this? Right? So that's how you start, and you ask them for the compliment. So on our handout on page, we're on page 37, you're going to see we have 3 scripts there to share a real compliment. So one, I'm going to use Yvonne as the example. So I'll say, hi, Yvonne, this is Jay Cermak. I just want to take a moment and thank you for your professionalism on the sale of 123 Main Street. Thank you. Easy, right? The next script. Hi, Yvonne, this is Jay Cermak. I love doing transaction with you. The way you handled that mold issue was awesome. See, I already used these scripts and I didn't even look at it. The third one is, hi, Yvonne, this is Jay Cermak. I love doing transaction with you. You are awesome. You always call to ask for information about the transaction or blah, 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 whatever that is. Those are easy scripts to start with. And if you want to ask them for expertise, hi, Yvonne, this is Jay Cermak. I just want to take a minute and get your professional opinion on blank or expertise on blank. Easy scripts. already in your handout there on page 37. Those are some great scripts that you can use, and it's easy to add them to. You could probably come up with your own, by the way. So here's the way I'm going to tie in a little bit of technology. Add them to command. So Ramona, that was the woman I was trying to remember her name for a moment, that I actually met at an open house. She is with Canvas Real Estate, a small brokerage in my area, and we met at an open house a couple months ago. And I added Ramona to my database. And I used a tag of agent. Now, I use the term recruit. You can call it profit share or tree or whatever you want to call them to identify that they're people you're nurturing. And then I also tagged her real estate company so I can do a filter to see what other people I know. And Yvonne is somebody I've added to my system. Now, here's what I did. I asked her for input. I said, Ramona, I want to get your feedback. I've got what's called a monthly neighborhood nurture that shows you neighborhood information. Would it be okay if I send it to you and you look at it? Now, I actually saw recently she opened it again recently, so now I have a reason to call her back. Hey, Ramona, you've been getting these. What do you think of them? Would you like to take advantage of that tool? I'd love to connect you with my team leader so that he can explain Keller Williams a little bit better, and maybe you can get this tool too. Right? What a great way to leverage command, because here's what I know. You're going to walk out with a plan today of the people you're going to think about to grow your profit share tree. We're going to teach you what to say to them, and then you're going to have a plan to show your team leader so someone like Grace can help connect you with that script and teach you and come up with a plan, come up with a plan to help connect you to get that person to join Keller Williams and then grow your profit share tree. Because that's what they're skilled in. And I love the fact that now I can track that person in command. And why not track it just like I track my real estate business? Put them on my own sales pipeline that I use differently. So I put her on a smart plan, and this is how I added her to command. And then how about asking them to give you feedback on your new website? Our website can do a lot of great things. Search by location. We now can search by landmark if you haven't seen that. And what about the app? So today on YouTube, I published a video. It's about 15 minutes long. And I took today's newest update of our app and I went side by side with your biggest competitors. I used a KWU app compared to Zillow, Realtor.com, Trulia, Redfin, Remax, and Compass's apps. I pulled them all up side by side and I showcased, and here's the highlight, just so you know. We have the ability to look by neighborhoods in all of America. Now, I'm not saying it's perfect, but no other app has that right now. Then we're able to get neighborhood statistics. Now we're able to search by landmarks. So you'll see in my video, I actually searched by the White House, Empire State Building, and Ohio State Stadium because I lived in Columbus for 12 years. So I was able to find the Ohio State Stadium and then see homes nearby. And with our GPS in our app, we have Google Earth built into our app right now. I was able to zoom in and almost see seat numbers. That's how close I can get into the Ohio State Stadium. We also have a buyer's and seller's guide. We have Keller Mortgage to save money and Keller Covered. Watch that video. Share that video with your co-op agents to let them see what we have in a comparison here, because that will be different. Yeah, Bill is on YouTube. Just look up my name, Jay Cermak, and you will find on YouTube my new video today is the I call it the home search app comparison for spring 2020. So I had an older one from a couple months ago, but we have a new update. So I did another version of it and I went side by side with these apps. You can do this yourself as well, by the way. I would encourage you do 2 videos. One that showcases to your clients how cool the experience is on our app. The other would be to a co-op agent or another competitor to show them. So I created this video so that I can grow my profit share tree, and you can use this video too to grow your profit share tree. I'm fine with that. So this is just 2 products to share an example of what a great way to get them curious about Keller Williams and what we're doing. Because here's what I know. No one has this. I looked at the apps. Zillow doesn't have a mortgage product that saves you money. Zillow doesn't have the ability to shop for home insurance. I couldn't search by landmarks or neighborhoods on Zillow's app. And if Zillow is the #1 app in the Apple store right now, they're ranked #3 in all of lifestyle. They're the #1 app. They get 160 million visitors a month on their website. And our app, well, I'll say it, kicked their butt. But I didn't say that in the video. This is the power to ask them and then get their feedback. What do you think of it? What could I do to make it better? See what they think of it. So I think your technology is a great time to see and get expertise right now. So moving along, we're now on page 39. How do you set up a time to meet? So when you meet face-to-face, well, now I would say Zoom to Zoom. Whether it's for coffee, a training event, or a book club, ding, 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 book club, have you joined the Pivot Shift Ahead Facebook group where James Shaw is taking us through every Monday through Friday, 8 a.m., the Shift book. By the way, Gary Keller worked with the publishers of this book. It is free on Audible right now. If you're a new subscriber on Audible, you can get this book, Shift, to listen to it for free. And if you guys need it, I have a PDF version of it that we can share as well. But the goal is to get this book out there. I like giving it as a gift to my friends and family that are thinking about getting real estate because it is that powerful. And Gary went through this with Jay page by page and verified that this book is still relevant today. It was written during the last shift, and everything in it is still relevant right now. So that's some ways to think about it. And then you can have an opportunity to build a synergy with them, right? You're going to build a synergy between business experiences. And you want to keep the relationship first and foremost in your mind to create a welcome opportunity. So you're going to want to meet with the co-op agent. So on page 39, here's some of the scripts, right? When you meet face-to-face, here's how you meet with a co-op agent after a transaction is closed. Here's the script. You know, it was so much fun doing that transaction with you. I really like the way that you handled blank. And then it might say, you know, I'll say, hey, Grace, can we meet for coffee next Tuesday or maybe Zoom? I just want to get to know you. And I have a small gift of appreciation I'd like to give you. Is that okay? Would you have time to meet maybe Tuesday at 10 a.m.? Right now, they're home. They want to hear from you, so I can send them a Zoom link. Mm-hmm. Grace wants to. Absolutely. I love it. So that's one. What if you haven't done a deal with an agent? Here's a great script. You know, I'll say, hi, John. This is Jay Cermak. It was so much fun hearing you talk at that seminar at the board the other day. I just want to get to know you. Can we meet for coffee? Maybe get to know you and talk shop? Is that okay? You'd be surprised who would say yes to that. And then ultimately invite them to an event. I'm going to use Bold Pivot. So Bold Pivot, if you didn't hear, is $99 for a couple of weeks of training for the whole month of May. And it is open to everybody. So I'm going to use that as my example to invite them to an event. So on page 39, the script is, you know, hi, John, this is Jay Cermak. Thanks for taking my call. You know, today I'm going to call about business. Do you have a minute? Great. Look, I called you because it's you were great to work with on our deal. And I wanted to share with you that we have a new course called Bold Pivot. Have you ever heard of Bold? It's a conditioning course that actually helps with your mindset, business practices, and my company has this open to any agent right now. It is live today, and I'd love to see if you want to join us for that. Would you be interested in getting into there? You know what? Heck, I might even pay for it for you. Now, breaking script, don't do that if you don't have the money, but here's what I know. If it's a top agent and I just got $250 from profit share, I might be willing to pay $100 of my profit share money to get John O'Flaherty, who's $1 million producer. Actually, that's his GCI. So a $70 million producer to join my profit share tree, I might be willing to pay $100 for that. So there are ways to get them in, but I know $100 they'll be able to do, and it might be a way to get them exposed. Because here's what we know. Keller Williams can't be explained. You guys are already here. You understand it better than most. However, if you've ever tried to explain it to somebody, they probably look at you like you're crazy. I get that all the time. I truly bleed the Kool-Aid Keller Williams red. And what I know is we're experiential because this is a transformational company. I am transformed forever. That's the passion you're hearing on this, is this company has transformed me. And my passion now is to transform others. So because of that, I can talk about it. So the reason I'm mentioning this here is it's not your job to explain Keller Williams. Invite them to an event. If you invite them to the Shift Book Club, they're going to go, wow, my company isn't doing this naturally. They're going to want to mastermind together, and they may join us, and they may not yet, and that's okay. Because some of our top agents who are our big producers took 5, 10, 20 years to join. A good example of that, by the way, of what not to do. Anyone heard of Monica Reynolds? So Monica Reynolds is now the vice president of MAPS, and she actually was a big agent who is the reason Linda McKissick's here. Remember, Linda McKissick makes about $1.5 million a year in profit share, and Linda McKissick is not sponsored by Monica Reynolds. So Monica Reynolds told Linda to join Keller Williams when she was with another company, and she hadn't joined yet, by the way. So she said, you should join Keller Williams. I think they're a great company for you, but Monica wasn't ready to join yet. So Linda did join, and someone else is Linda's sponsor. And now fast forward a couple years, Monica Reynolds is with Keller Williams. She's the head and vice president of MAPS coaching, and she does not get a dime from Linda McKissick's profit share tree. Boing. That is a oops, I should have came sooner moment. So you will hear that. So it's not about them joining today. It's about the journey and relationship. If you focus on the relationship, everything else will show up. They may want to join today. They may not want to join today. It's not about them joining today. It's about being a relationship and helping them. So I love that story. I wanted to share that because I didn't know that. I just learned that recently too. So look for opportunities to help, right? At the end of the day, we're looking for opportunities to help. So check your mindset before you meet with an agent, by the way. You truly are building a relationship with them. So number one, you aren't meeting with them to recruit them. You're meeting to just get to know them, to share insights, to support each other in growing a business. If you're a business owner, you want to know other business owners. So get to know them, share insights, support each other, number one. Number two, ask them about themselves to have an idea of what would help. Different agents have different needs. You won't know what they need or what they might consider helpful until you got to know them better. Number three, share your business tools and insights. As a Keller Williams agent, you have business tools available to you that others don't have. By sharing your tools and business insights, you're hearing in your market center or what you learned from a class, you can profoundly help another agent. And then number four, be open to any outcomes. We just talked about this, right? You're not looking for one particular outcome from the meeting. You're looking to build a relationship. And then number five, time will enrich the relationship. Time will enrich a relationship. There are no set timelines, right? Real relationships require involvement and investment of time. Have a conversation with people, right? We can do this. So how do you come from contribution? Well, here's some ways you can think about it, right? So what are some things that we have? The CGI business consultation setting, the career growth initiative. You guys can connect them to your team leader, Grace, if that's who your team leader is, and she can have a consultation about business. We can talk to them with that CGI tool of, to get to $100,000 profit, we need X amount of closings, then you need to have X amount of listings taken to have this many appointments, and that's a business plan, right? Every October, we do this as a company to set your business plan. I promise you, other companies aren't doing this. They're just saying, good luck selling another house. We have the Career Growth Initiative flyer. You can give them the flyer of this. It's available on KWU Connect to download for free. You can download and share that with them, which you can walk them through as well, but I think the team leader is better skilled on this. Insights for your team meeting. We're sharing great information right now. Your trend worksheet, a GPS, and a 411. Those are goal setting tools. The One Thing book, the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, the Millionaire Real Estate Investor book, and Shift. We just talked about that. The Shift book is available on Audible for free. Why don't you just connect them to that? I was thinking about you, and you know, John, I appreciate you as being an agent in the industry. I'm reading this great book, Shift, and it's free on Audible right now. Can I send you the link? Maybe you can listen to it together. I'd love to talk to you about it and get your feedback. Share it with them. You're coming from contribution. We write the books in the industry, by the way. No other real estate company does this, and you know what they're studying? Our books and talking about it at their company when that's what we're built on. But there are other things you can do. So here's my idea around this. What about technology? What if we started asking about technology? Now, this isn't in your handout. I wrote these based on what we're doing now called a tech analysis, meaning I'm just talking to people about their business. So if you want to have this conversation now, I'll share with you, by the way, before I go into these scripts. This won't work with a new agent. They don't understand. This works with somebody who's maybe doing 20, 30 homes a year, and we know they have technology to run their business. So some questions could be, how many systems do you use to run your business? You're probably wondering, well, Jay, why would I ask him that? That sounds dumb. Let's think about it right now. If I'm not with Keller Williams, what do I do to run my business? I use my phone to send you text messages and email. I use one system to do contracts with you. I do another system to send you MLS alerts. I may or may not have an app or website for my company. I then have another marketing company. I might use another service to send you emails. I might have a video service. That's 7 systems right there. And odds are they're paying for that somehow, whether it's with their company, whether it's with their commission split because the company gives it to them at no cost, but they never cap, so they are paying for it. So they're going to be doing that. So how many systems do you use? By the way, the team leaders are skilled to ask these questions if you don't want to. How much do you spend a year in technology? I interviewed the Edwards Group in my market center who did $1 million in GCI last year. They just broke the $1 million mark. And when I talked to them, they shared with me that they spend $1,000 a month on conversion. That's their database. They spend $3,000 a month on Zillow leads. You guys, those two combined right there is $48,000 a year. If I can get them into command at no extra cost to them, I can save them $12,000 a year. And if I can get them off of Zillow leads and get them onto Facebook leads and spend maybe $3,600 a year and save them $32,000 a year, do you think they'll be happy? Yes. So we're teaching you to cut expenses. Let the team leader or the tech analysis or tech person in your office do this part for you. And then are you able to compete with other tech companies like Redfin, like Zillow, like Compass? Can you compete with them? So we have a website that's open to the public that you may or may not have heard of yet. And I'll type the link into the chat as well. It's called technology.kw.com. This website was created a couple months ago to showcase our technology that's public facing for the agents outside of our company to learn about. It explains a little bit about command. It talks about labs. It shows demos of our consumer app, which you don't need to give them a demo anymore. Give them your app. Share your branded app and show them what happens in command when they use your app. Show them the alerts you get when that agent signs in online, because I promise you they're going to want it. They're hungry for it. We've gotten some of the top agents at other companies, like Jeff Cohn, if you didn't hear, joined us from Berkshire Hathaway. He was their #1 agent. By the way, he used to be #2 because we already got their #1 agent. He's the next #1 agent we got in the last year. And he shared with me it was the technology. He was in a relationship with us for over 5 years. He was already Kellerized. He knew the models. He knew the books, but he didn't join Keller Williams yet. This technology is what pushed him over the edge. Share his story. Let him connect with another mega on your behalf to help grow your profit share. So that's just some examples here. And this is the website, technology.kw.com. It's public facing. I'd be telling people if you want to learn more, go here and learn. So let's talk the last part of this, referring people. How do you refer to the team leader? This is a script I know Grace knows very well and appreciates. I love doing transaction with you. You are awesome. I told my team leader just the other day how great you are. She will be calling you to thank you for the way you do business. Would you promise to take her call? It's not a painful script. And don't worry, I'm going to cover the objection of this in a second, but that's it. And if you tell Grace, I just want you to say thank you. Please don't try to recruit them yet. We'll just call and say thank you. We honestly will. And I'll share my own story on this. So I was a team leader in Fort Wayne, Indiana. It's a very traditional real estate area. Their #1 company is C21. And I had my agents who wanted me to do this. They had an agent they did. She was about a $30 million producer in the area. And I called her and just said, hey, I want to call and say thank you. You just did a deal with Leslie Ferguson, and she was raving about how great you were. And I really want to just call and say thank you. We appreciate doing business with you. And you know what the agent did? She said, this is weird. I'm hanging up, and hung up on me. Now, I could have gotten upset. I could have cried. I just picked up the phone and dialed the next person. Here's what's interesting about that. A couple weeks ago, I ran into her at an event at the Board of Realtors in Fort Wayne. And she actually said, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Jay. It was just weird for me because no one's ever called to say thank you. And I just got uncomfortable with the call and hung up on you. I didn't mean to. Because the other agent called and said, well, hey, he really was just calling to say thank you. She apologized to me. I was like, no worries. I get it. No one calls and says thank you anymore. I just really want to call and say thank you. We appreciate it. That's it. The team leader is skilled to do that. And what we can do in return is maybe offer them as a gift, a book. So typically I might say, hey, I don't know if you want it, but I have this great book, The One Thing, Millionaire Real Estate Agent, Shift, whatever it is. And I wanted to say thank you for joining us. Thank you for doing a transaction with us. And this is my gift to you. It's helped my agents, and I believe it'll help your agents. We have a budget to do this, so you don't have to spend your money. However, the top profit share earners share with me that they buy some of these books themselves. You can get them inexpensively from kellerinc.com, about $10 a book. And now I think they're doing the Shift book for $5 a book. And I can buy a couple of these books and hand them out as gifts myself. And if I'm growing my profit share tree, you guys, that's an investment in my profit share. I'm willing to spend my profit share money to do that. So that's a great script on your script here. Now, what's interesting about this is your goal on this on page 47 is just to be short and to the point. My team leader can tell you more about that. So you might get somebody asking you right now, what's your splits? That's a great question. It's a little complex. My team leader can tell you about that. What is your monthly bill? That's a great question. You know, my team leader can answer that. I'll have her follow up with you. I'll have him follow up with you. You guys stop giving the answer. Use this as the analogy in your head. If somebody calls in your listing and says, how much is that home? Do you give them the price? No, because if they say that's not the right home, they hang up on you. Just like you don't say what your split is or your cap is with Keller Williams because we haven't shown our value yet, so the number won't make sense to them. Don't explain this to them. Just say, you know what, that's a great question. My team leader can explain profit share. That's a great question. My tech director can explain the app better. That's a great question. My team leader can explain our monthly bill and our capping status. That's a great question. We can explain, my team leader can explain if we have office space available for you. That's it. Refer it to them. Let go of having to know the answer. Don't give them the answer. Okay. So at the end of the day, it's not about recruiting, right? And how does your team leader want to receive this? I skipped one. There we go. Okay. So suggest meeting the team leader or any team leader in the Keller Williams can be a neutral development and relationship building. So Mo Anderson points out that you don't need to learn multiple referral scripts, just the one. That's what the script is. So going forward with it, how does your team leader receive referrals? Well, I know for me, text me, email me, call me, carrier pigeon. We want to hear. I don't care how you get it to me, get it to me. The team leaders want this information. But check with your team leader. What's the best method, right? What is one method that they want? I might say, you know, submit it on your green sheet. I can say, go to this website. For me, I like it in email or text because I can track it. So I know who it came from. We are working on ways inside of Command to do this in the future. So eventually it'll be easier to refer agents you're doing deals with to Keller Williams. But just contact us, email us, call us, phone us. Give us a backstory. It helps, by the way. I want to know how you know this agent. That helps me with a little bit of backstory. So when I say thank you, I'm starting to build a plan. And you're going to leave class today with a one-sheet layout of who you want to have us talk to. What is your why behind this profit share system? And then you're going to pass that over to your team leader and have a conversation with them. And they're going to go, okay, let's come up with a plan together and strategize with you on what to do to get that person in. Odds are, though, they're going to say, invite them to a team meeting, invite them to our Zoom happy hour, invite them to the Shift Book Club, invite them to Bold Pivot, invite them to something to experience it. And then when they say, hey, you know what, Jay, I think I want to join Keller Williams. Could you tell me more? Awesome. I'm glad you want to join Keller Williams. I would love to work with you. Let me connect you with my team leader. Let me connect you with Grace. She's our team leader. She can answer all these questions for you. Refer it. It's not your job to recruit. Objections. This is a big one, right? Just to clarify, you're not recruiting. So if they say, oh, you're just trying to recruit me, because trust me, they say that. Oh, I don't intend to recruit you. I hope you're not disappointed. My team leader and I really just want to call and say thank you. That's it. You're not here to recruit them. I'm building a relationship. Now, I can say I would love to be in business with you. You're an amazing agent, and I would be honored if you joined us, but that's not my goal right now. I want to invite you to this class. I want to say thank you, right? We're not recruiting. Get the R word out of it for recruiting, at least. You want to refer it. But if you're building a relationship, this shouldn't come up. It's just, how can I help you? How can I add value to your life? What not to say. This is a big one. Never say anything negative about someone else's company. You'll notice 90% of the time today while I was talking about other companies, I didn't even use their name. Don't say anything negative. You never know if they're the owner or if they know somebody. Also, never say anything negative about someone else's broker. And never say anything negative where you think you might know what they're experiencing. Oh, I can see how that'd be frustrated. If my broker did that to me, I'd be so mad. Come on, guys. No. Positivity. Now, you don't have to be overly positive. Just don't talk about anything negative. Just say, well, I'm sorry that that happened to you at your company. I'm actually shocked that that happened because honestly, my team leader, he and I meet every week and he helps me go through my goals. Or I have a MAPS coach. I meet him once a week. Or I have a class. Like, you can acknowledge that, but don't feed into the negativity. Stay positive. And never say anything bad. You never know if they know the broker personally. Never say anything bad. Keep negativity out of it. So we're not going to do the activity today, but you might want to think about doing this in the future. Practice. If you want to get profit share going, we'll help you connect with another profit share agent. Maybe somebody on this call wants to connect with you. You can use the chat to connect together and role play with that, right? Practice using the scripts. And ultimately, the goal is the follow-up, because just like in real estate, the money's in the follow-up. Connect with the agent on social media. Don't do this if you don't know them yet. Maybe wait till you talk to them. Or if you've done a deal with them or you know of them, you can always ask. But I find it's a good connection if he and I already talk. Like if I talk to John O'Flaherty, who's $1 million GCI agent in my area, and I talked to him at an event and we met at a happy hour, and then I connect with him, he's more likely to accept it. If we're doing a deal together, more likely to accept it. But connect with them on social media. Man, social media gives you so much information about the other person, right? Call the agent. Invite them to a class, and then track when you can contact the agent and what you talked about and when you'll follow up next. That's why you need command. Number 4, to track when you talk to them. And what I do is put my agents that I'm working on for my profit share on the quarterly call plan. Why not call them every quarter? And honestly, right now, I might call some of those agents every week or every other week just to see how they're doing, see if they need anything from Costco or the store when I go, and just see how they're holding up in business. Because we know as this event that we're in right now with the coronavirus, as it keeps going on, it's getting harder with your mindset. And mindset's a big part of what we're teaching here. So that'll be some ways to follow up with. And ultimately, we want you to build your plan. So page 53, this is your one sheet exercise you're going to want to do together. This is your homework. When we end this call today, and we're done with this Zoom, and you can go back to this recording as many times as you want, I want you to think about these questions and put it on one piece of paper. Page 53 is your one sheet plan to plan for profit share. So the first thing is, what would profit share and passive income do for you and your family, right? I have a goal of $100,000 in the next couple of years because it would be a freedom number for me. It's not the only number I want to hit. It's just a freedom number. What would $100,000 of passive income do if my mom wants to retire early? If something happened to my sister and we had to pay for medical bills, what can I do with that money? Then I want you to think about how many people do you want in your first level? Now, you would start with 1 because it takes 1 to get started. However, put a goal. So if you want to go with Mo Anderson and target to get to 15 as soon as you can in your first level, then focus on that. For me, how many people do you want in your first level is 30, because I want to get to the point that in 5 years, I have $100,000 of passive income. It's going to take a while, but I have to get to 30 people in my first level as fast as I can. And then it starts from there. So that's one of my goals, which means I have 5 now. So my gap is 25 agents to keep bringing over. Then you're going to do what activities we engage in regularly. Is that going to the board? Is that getting your license renewal? Is that chatting in other social media groups to connect with other agents? What are you going to do to engage with people? And then what are you going to do today? What I would be doing today, invite everybody I know to the Shift Book Club and go to it. Invite my other agents to this book. I would share the Audible for free with them. I would get them a copy of this book so that we can do this together. I would also invite everybody I know that's an agent to Bold Pivot. Get them into the Bold group for $100. We're going to do this for 3 days a week, starting in May. It'll be recorded. It'll be a live stream. Everyone's able to do that. I would get them on there. And ultimately, how are you going to stay on track? What I would do when you finish this sheet, go to your team leader. Go to your team leader, or if it's a newer agent, maybe it's your productivity coach, go to the growth team in your market center if you have one, or the growth chair, AOC, like Yvonne, who is in charge of the growth chair, and she can help you with this as well. And then maybe you become each other's accountability partner. Put together a plan. What do you want to achieve? And then this becomes your business plan. Treat it like a business. Now that I'm receiving profit share, guess what? I have a real estate team. I have my job with Keller Williams. I have a training and coaching business that I'm doing as well. And I make money from profit share. That's 4 streams of income right there. And while it may not be millions of dollars yet, it's a stream of income. And if I got $200 extra last month, that's $200 I might need right now. And if I got $4,000 last year, what would that look like if I invest in that? Right? What can I do with $4,000? And if I had my lifetime profit share right now, if I never touched it, today, I would have had about $10,000, and I probably could have used that for a down payment on an investment property or something. right? So the goal of this plan is to put it all together. So it's a lot of information, a lot of things to go through. Hopefully it doesn't seem painful. You have a better idea of what is profit share, how it works a little bit better. And I'll let you guys go ahead and you can come on camera if you want and just share any ahas that you have. And then we'll go into ending it out with our course review and reviews from me. So if you have an aha, you can come on camera and share that with me or type it in the chat. I will read it out loud. How about you, Grace? You've been on the camera. What was your aha from this that you learned today? Where did she leave? Okay, she left. There she goes. Oh, let me unmute you. There you go.
Okay, can you hear me?
Now I can hear you, yes.
Okay, I don't know what I did. I like clicked on something and it disappeared. So my one aha is, as a team leader, we really appreciate, especially those warm referrals. I mean, not that we don't mind cold calling, we do that too, just like you guys do, to get, for sale by owners and listings and things like that. I think the best thing is, helping others once you start a line is really helping them grow their line too. And so you talking about, hey, just create a relationship. Agents really think it's like recruiting. No, you just have to create a relationship first so people can see the value, because one thing that you definitely said was it's a culture thing and you have to like feel it and see it for yourself. So,
it's experience.
So it's too good to be true type thing, especially for other agents and really producing agents that have been in business for a long time. So I really appreciated that you said that.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And Michael just said, thanks, Jay. Put me back into focus on the middle income streams available to, or the multiple income streams available to KW and to take advantage of it. Yes, take advantage of this. You guys, the $1 billion is getting divided to somebody. Every owner of Keller Williams right now, if they're a franchisee owner or if they're there, is giving back and they're sharing the money off their table with agents, and either you're going to get it or you're not. And I know agents like, or team leaders like Grace is recruiting people, because our standard as team leaders is the goal is 40 appointments a month. To gross 10 of those and to net 5 is the standard of Keller Williams for team leaders typically. Now, sometimes we need to do more, sometimes we might do less, but that's really the goal. That's 40 appointments. How much easier would it be for us if you gave us those names? And if we're hiring 10, why not be 10 of your people that join? Yvonne, I see you're off microphone. Do you want to share anything as well?
Yes, good morning from San Jose, California, everyone.
Morning.
What I first would like to say is, Jay, I just loved your training this morning. Super valuable. I joined KW about 6 years ago, got my license in 2006. One of the things, there was many, but when I heard about profit share, it's like, wow, what a bonus, what a blessing. And it's up to us to take advantage of it. So I am on ALC. I am the growth committee chair. And what we're doing is, we always hear about lead generating, right?
Yep.
So what we have encouraged those that are working on their profit share is take just a portion of our lead generating each day or each week and devote it to profit share.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just lead generating for buyers and sellers. That's a given, right?
Right.
But can we take 15 minutes or 30 minutes a day or maybe an hour a week and just devote that time to lead generating for profit share?
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. And it's simple. It sounds simple. And everyone's like, oh, I should have done it. I wish I had started sooner. I know that's what everyone says. I wish I had started sooner.
Yeah.
And here's the best thing, guys. Just call and say, how are you doing right now? They're scared. We know they are. And the bold affirmation used to be they're home, they're happy, they can't wait to hear from me. So James Shaw and I corrected that to now say they're home, they're scared, they're confused, they're worried, and they don't know that they need to hear from you. Just call a fellow agent saying, hey, I just want to have a call. I just want to talk to you. I'm really glad that you're still doing okay and stuff. Is there anything I can do to help you in your business? It's so much easier to care. And it's funny how I know we're going to come out of this as number one, because our culture always was to care. We always were to do that. And I've been with companies that weren't so caring and were very competitive, and this is mine, I can't share it with you, and closed off and stuff there. So yeah, it's very, very fascinating as we go forward there. Yeah, Amy, do you have questions that you want to answer or get asked on the camera? You can come on the camera if you want, or I can type it.
Oh, y'all don't want to see me. I got a hat on.
Okay,
Hey,
what can I answer?
but I don't know if this is the right time for my question since we're doing the fun ahas.
It's okay. What are your questions?
Are you sure?
Yep.
Okay. I mean, this was awesome. I've only been at KW for a little over a year maybe, and I came in a merger.
Nice.
And so I'm just admin, and I just had questions about, like, I've asked my people at my market center, but like, who explains to that potential recruit, like, if I get that person the appointment and get my team leader to close him or her, well, at that point, to me, the team leader's already encouraged them. They don't remember that you brought them over there. You know what I mean?
No,
Like,
I appreciate that. So here's the good news on that, Amy, is that it's built into our profit share agreement. When you signed it, a good team leader like Grace, like myself, would actually go, hey, it says specifically in that it's not the team leader, it's the person that referred you to it. And it says in there, who's the person most impactful? Because two things can happen from that, Amy. One, they may not remember you, but if I got the referral from you, I would say, I'm so glad that Amy connected us together, and I'm glad that we're gonna meet today. And then the next time we talk, I'm so glad that Amy put us in each other's paths, and I'm so excited for your journey here. And I would be encouraging them that, hey, Amy's the reason we're together. That's who you need to put down on that sheet, because the profit share sponsor agreement has that in there. The other part of it, though, is what happens if you talk to them, and then Bill talks to them, and Alex talks to them, and Carmela, like other people are talking to that person. Mm-hmm. We always ask them, who's the person that was most impactful? Meaning, who poured into you the most? Who's the real reason you're here today?
Yeah.
And that's the right way to do it. Now, I would love to say we all do that. We have integrity. That's the agreement. That's how it's intended to be done. In the event it doesn't happen that way, let your OP or somebody know as well. But that's the goal. So our job is to keep track of the referral where it came from and then get that out there.
Yeah, no, I have an amazing team leader, and I trust her with everything I've got. So she's super amazing. I just didn't know if, like, I've never actually seen that piece of paper or whatever. So I didn't know.
Get a copy from them. I'm sure they would share it with you. Grace, you want to add to that?
Yeah, I would love to add to that, Amy. So as far as us as team leaders, we're not even helping them fill out their paperwork. We're actually having another staff member do it. And so we even put sticky notes on the paperwork that says Jay's recruit, right?
Yeah.
And so when they're filling out the paperwork, they well, Jay had invited you over to the company, right? Not Grace. And us as team leaders, majority of us as team leaders, definitely will always follow up. And
she fell off, but we will follow up. And we will keep you in the loop as well. So just like your sales pipeline, we're going to do our sales pipeline and keep track of that. And then we will be sure to keep you in the loop. And that's what's good. So we have something called our own, just like you guys have a sales pipeline in real estate, we have a recruiting pipeline in our business. And we look at it every day. We look at it with our owners. We look at it with our leadership team, my coach. And we actually look at that, and it will have in that section, where did this referral come from, so that I can keep you updated about what's happening. And that way you'll stay alert. And then if you want to get a copy of that, Amy, you can actually ask it from your MCA or your team leader just to get a copy to read. They're happy to share it with you. It's an open document.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I didn't know how that worked.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that's why we didn't know how it worked. So I love that. Awesome. And then I've got Eamon here. He gave a statement in the chat that I'll read out loud. So I love what you said, that you can't explain it. You have to experience it. He's been an agent for 7 months. He has 3 in his profit share. Whoa, in 7 months, good for you. With 25 in my pipeline that are either in school, just passed their exam, or interested in a career change. With only 7 months in, I've shared my excitement to help others. You don't have to be an expert. Be excited. KW culture is awesome. That's amazing. I love that. And I love the fact that you got that early, because I waited 3 years. And man, if I had started this earlier, I'd be a billionaire. But that will come back, and we will get there. So a lot of great ahas. Thank you guys for being on this. So the last thing I'm going to ask for, and I'll stay on if you have more questions, if you would do me a favor, and you can do this on your phone, we're going to go to a website, KWUeval.com. And this helps me because I'm on my journey for profit share KWU University to be an approved trainer. And I need to get these reviews. So if you would take 2 minutes and do a review for me, this would be great. So you're going to go to KWUeval.com. it's going to be, you're going to select Market Center Training because they don't have one for Zoom right now. So we'll call it Market Center Training. And then the name of the course is Grow Your Profit Share Tree. It'll be alphabetical down there under G, so past the Ignite sessions, and then Grow Your Profit Share Tree, and you will not find my name in the list yet. So if you just scroll down that list, oops, I clicked too many times. If you scroll down that list, you will be able to quickly, all the way at the bottom, it says not in the dropdown. And then you can type in my name, which is right there, Jay Cermak. And if it was great, my name is Jay Cermak. If it wasn't great, just don't do the survey. No, you can fill it in. I take honest feedback. I believe I'm at a 4.95 out of 5 reviews right now. So I can handle it. If there's positive feedback or negative, I can take it either way. And then just let us know what you think of this course. This will be recorded. I will put it on YouTube after, so you guys can follow me as well on YouTube there. I'm on KWU Connect also, in either spot, whatever is easiest for you. And I will also email you guys to make sure that this is done as well. Thanks so much, Bill. I appreciate that. Good. I'm glad that you were grateful for this. What I find is we don't teach this enough. Not every office has it. So what a great way to take advantage of this method of Zooming right now and help more people and get that message out. So I appreciate you guys. If you have questions or anything, you can always reach out to me. My email address, I'll type in the chat here. To contact me, at least for this, the best one will probably be info@jaycermak.com. That is one of my emails for coaching that I use. Of course, I'm on Kelly, so you can always find me there as well. jay.cermak@kw.com. Thank you, Luz. I appreciate that. And hopefully you guys found value in today's training. Again, if you need the downloads, they're on jaycermak.com, and you can get the downloads there as well. Awesome, Vicky. Yeah, I was in Columbus 12 years. It was really neat. So now you're living in Atlanta. Oh, good. See, hey, my name's getting out there. I appreciate that. So it must be a good thing. But here's what I know. My name's out there and I'm not getting enough people on Profit Share yet. So I now have to go from entrepreneurial to purposeful and come up with a plan for that. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us today. I will go ahead and send this out as a recording. I will send you guys an email with this as well and the handout in the email. So if you didn't get a chance to download it yet, you will get that email handout as well. And thank you guys for being here. And I hope you guys stay safe. Have a great day. And I am here if you need anything.